Welcome, Face Value listeners. Today is a special day. We have taken Face Value on the road. Now, I'm still back in Denver, but Tonya is visiting the Appraisal Institute headquarters in Chicago for some board meetings.
I'm here with Carrie Van. And Carrie, welcome to our podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. It's exciting actually doing an in-person podcast. We have never done this before. So would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here at AI?
Sure. I am the director of membership. I've been with the Appraisal Institute for about 24 years. I just recently celebrated my 24 years and I've always worked in membership. I started with the comp exam and now I am the director of membership.
It's wonderful. I'm very happy we have Carrie. She is amazing. Anytime we have questions, she is always a phone call away, an email away. She's very responsive. So can you tell us a little bit about member services? We'd like to share with our listeners some of the services that the Appraisal Institute has to offer their members.
Sure. So we do have the candidate program in which our member services team services. Our customer service team also services all members, so students, affiliates, people learning to become an appraiser, trainees, people who are interested in joining, status changes, category changes. If anybody's trying to find an appraiser on the website, we're there to help out as well.
So I know Carrie was very vocal on having the change for members, designated members, and to include affiliate members and associate members. She was one of the Appraisal Institute staff who was a proponent for that. So I remember sitting at the board meeting maybe a year and a half ago where you brought that to us. Can you tell us a little bit about that change?
Sure. So in 2010, the board did make a decision to become a small professional society of only designated members. And in 2020, the board made a new mission, a new strategic plan to be a bigger organization and invite more people in. So we've been trying to get that member terminology updated through the board, and that became effective 1/1 of this year, where we can now include everybody into the membership category.
And have you heard any feedback from members on that? Have they reached out to you to tell you that they're happy or that you're seeing additional people register to become Appraisal Institute members?
I think that individuals are happy to be able to call themselves members now. We've had to also update a lot of web pages, documents, welcome letters, a lot of things because we were only able to use AI professionals or affiliation for a really long time. So I know from our staff perspective to be able to say the words membership or call folks members, I know it makes them feel really good at the end of the day. And now that we're using the term associate member versus practicing affiliate, I think we've got the most positive feedback about that.
Wonderful.
Eric, I see you are sitting in the Lum Library. Tell us a little bit about the background of the Lum Library.
The Lum family had an education research fund, and there was a paragraph in it that a library could be set. So with an agreement with the Lum family, seed money for setting up the library was started, and I came the end of 1991. And the purpose was to set up a library for reference for members, and one of the motions I was given was appraisers spend all day looking for work. At night, they do their research for their reports. So have something that they can begin their research. Then if they need more, they can call in. And so that was the mandate, to get as much online as early as we could before everything was online. So that was the forward thinking at that time, and that we have scanned all of the journals from the society and area back to the early 30s. And they're all full text, cataloged in the catalog, many with subject headings. And then we've now been on a digital project, thanks to the generosity of the Lums, that we've scanned all of our books, including education materials back into the 30s. And all that is being entered into the catalog that one can search. So we're trying to get as much available to you so that you can work on your appraisals at night or even during the daytime.
Yeah.
I had one member who we finally hooked up, and I had sent her a link to search the catalog, and she was having a brake job done. and she was using a very slow Wi-Fi at her garage, and she was
Yeah,
just amazed that she could do all her research, download the article she wanted while she was getting a break job, so when she got home, she could work on her report. I have
that's
fulfilled
amazing.
my one of my missions.
That's awesome.
One thing a lot of the associate members do not know, they have access to the Lum Library, not only searching, but they also can contact me for assistance. And I tell them, ask me what you need. Or even some people say, I don't know how to ask for, you know, to make a request. I said, just tell me what you need and I'll tell you what I have.
When I got to the office a little while ago, Eric took me on a tour of the space. So a lot of the offices are structured. You have a couple conference rooms like this where Carrie and I are sitting in. Eric is in his office, which is one of the three libraries, and then he showed me the other two. So it's really cool to see these old books. They're all cataloged, if you can see them behind Eric. And do you want to tell us about some of the oldest books? You said 1930s. Do you want to talk to us about
You know,
some of the old books and what they're about?
the appraisal field really got going in response to the Depression. So material really started being published then. It's it really in the oldest would be the notebooks of the education materials. A couple of them have embossed leather bindings to what they were once considered at that time. The first appraisal of real estate, which was 1951, was actually these education materials were pulled together, and that made the first book. And then the additions, which are now all available online in the catalog. So it is amazing some of the materials we have. As we came out of the last big recession, many researchers who were tracking how these laws that it worked so well and then fell apart came because I have some of the old books of the economics so they can trace what the original intent of these laws were all the way to the when they failed. So we've got quite a collection of real estate appraisal information.
So, Carrie, do you want to tell us about some of the other member services that we have in addition to Lum Library and doing research? What else does the Appraisal Institute offer its members?
Sure. So, Find an Appraiser is a membership, a database of practicing appraisers or practicing valuation professionals on our website. That's a huge AI benefit. Lum Library, as you said, we have book discounts, education discounts, obviously designations. That's one of the big benefits. We have scholarships, the Appraisal Journal, Valuation Magazine, Trending Topic Series, which is a free series of education that we do, I believe, twice a month, maybe Thursdays. And Lightbox, Rio Quantum, Valkyrie benefits, Fuel, Rockport Val, all different types of benefits depending on what members might be looking for.
So, Eric, can you tell us about the valuation journal? I know that comes through the Lum Library too, and a lot of those are cataloged for, most of them are cataloged for us. Can you tell us some of the fun articles that you've read recently?
That's not an easy question because I never know what's going to be important. So I'm more capturing those those articles that I don't have anything on to make sure that I can retrieve them. Because for me, as I tell people, just ask me. They don't know. They say I don't know how to ask a question of you. I said, just tell me what you need, and I'll tell you what I have.
So, are you like, hey Siri on my phone, or Alexa, I have a question for you. So, if we ask you any questions, you'll come out with the answer?
I try.
Should we try that on air? Carrie, what should we ask him?
Yeah, we should ask him.
So, hey Eric, can you talk to me about corridor valuations?
Yes, I can. We can go into the catalog, and if you go under corridors as a subject search, you will get all of the articles. Along with that, you will get one of these bibliographies that has a lot of right of way articles indexed into it. And since they are linked to the right of way website, so you can actually go directly to the article.
Eric, how many books do you have in the library? How many things do you have cataloged?
It's probably, I don't know. I know I've got like 18,000 of our articles published, but the books, I've never looked that up. Interesting. I'll have to do that.
So, when I came to your office a few moments ago, you were sitting there typing. Or do you manually enter all of the information, the keywords that link to an article or a book or anything like that?
Yes. In fact, what you saw me doing was original cataloging, which takes more time. And all of our articles are original cataloging. And instead of just putting in the whole issue, each article is done individually so it can be searched. And in the beginning, I was sort of, when I first came, there was no training. They took me to the end of the dock, tossed me into the pool, and said, swim. And our members, they would call up for a reference request, were very generous with their information of what they needed. Because while I am trained how to find the information, I need to understand the information. So a lot of our members have said, you always seem to know what I need. That's because members have been training me for over 30 years of what their needs are.
So the Appraisal Institute's a very seasoned organization, right? We have members who've been with the profession for a very long time, who are active members of the organization, the Appraisal Institute. You two are some of the most seasoned staff members here. Is there anyone at the Appraisal Institute on staff that has been here longer than you?
Yes. Somebody on my team has been here 43 years.
43 years. Wow.
One of the paralegals in legal has been 40 years, I believe, here.
That's amazing. It's amazing to know that staff's here that are familiar and they're giving back, and it's like they're part of the organization. It's not just a job, it's your life.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I don't think many of us would be here if we thought of it as just a job. Like, I believe that we're all super passionate about being here. We wouldn't be here. And we enjoy working with our members. We enjoy working with one another. One of the coolest things about having someone who's been here for that long is when I need something from Eric or from Emma from 1940 or 50, they could just pull it out of their desk. Or I'm like, I need this one piece of paper or this reg from that date. And they have everything. They have it all. It's cool.
It's nice to see the family that you guys have built here.
Yeah.
And it's nice when we come for the board meetings that it's welcoming. We wanted to walk around, show everyone the space, but it's a lot of cubicles. This is one of the nicest views we have here, and Eric's book. So it's not that it's like glamorous space. It's just a regular office with cubicles. So it's been difficult to walk into people's corners, and we're trying to respect their privacy too. Now, you were talking about the members. Can you tell us the changes that have happened, residential, commercial members, any changes that we see that they're facing, any questions or concerns that they come back and, ask you?
Yeah, our residential members are facing a lot of issues, from a regulatory perspective and the market, and we're trying to address that. You asked about articles. There's a great article that was in Valuation Magazine in the last issue, I believe, that Adam Johnson, the chair of RAC, wrote, and he talked about all the work that the Residential Appraiser Committee would have been doing and the SRA campaign that we're working on this year, some of the recruitment campaigns that we're going to be working on this year. We do definitely have to go out there and we need to recruit new members to our organization. Our designated member appraiser population is aging. We always knew this was going to happen. So we really need to get out there and get the students, get them to convert to the right categories. We've grown our student affiliate membership about 330% over the last few years. So that's great that we're getting a younger population, younger generation of appraisers.
Do you see the students staying, even their affiliates? Are they staying past their graduation?
There are more students staying now than they have, I think, in more recent years. I'm noticing that more are staying. I think it's really important to get them in the beginning, to expose them to the profession. In the beginning, I saw them moving more to financial professions and not necessarily this profession. But I think the quicker we can get them in and expose them, the networking, the involvement at the chapter level, I think that makes a huge difference when they're considering professions.
So for us members, what do you want us to do? How do you want us to engage these new student affiliates or the affiliates and the associate members? How do you want us to bring them in? Because I know when I go to chapter meetings, I mainly see the seasoned appraisers, the ones who are aging out. I'm not seeing a lot of the new ones. How do we get them to come to these events, to network with us? How do we bring them in to the profession?
I think it's important. When I work a booth, when I work our AI booth, I think it's so important that members are also with us, because I can talk about membership and why it's great to join and what the benefits might be, but I can't talk to those people about the profession itself and the doors that can be open, how folks expand their practices, or how you may network with somebody, or you may get a job from another designated member. So I think it's really important that members share their professional experience with new appraisers or folks looking to get into the profession, because they don't know anything about the profession. So if you could talk about what it's done for you or how you've built your business, I think that encourages them to look deeper into the profession.
So you mentioned something about the booths. I know that when I attended a pre-college, I would go to the college fair and see the booths of different, JP Morgan Chase, and you'd have some of the real estate companies, the larger ones, or you'd have architectural firms. How do we get our national, like a group of national members, sign up for booths at college fairs to promote the name? Is that something we're able to do?
Yes, I think locally chapters are really important in that. There are chapters who do attend those events. And I know you can bring our booth. Like if your chapter would want part of our booth, we could send it, and it comes in all different sizes. So if the chapter wanted to do an event at a college, we would ship the booth and you could go there. We have materials for students, associate members, all type of benefit materials. So we would be able to share that as well.
So maybe on a chapter level, I think we should do a better job to advocate for that, to send our, chapter volunteers out to the universities to get them in. Because when I started, I had an economics and finance degree. So I didn't have a real estate background. I liked real estate, which is how I ended up in the profession, but I had finance and economics. So it was just numbers. And I think we can attract people like that, show them something else, and just be in the back of their mind. It's funny. Last month, my daughter's school, she's 8, so she's in 3rd grade. My daughter's school had a career fair, and they asked parents or anyone to volunteer. We had councilwomen, we had police, we had all this stuff, and I show up. And I'm showing them, like, what do I do? I created a PowerPoint. Like, could I come to member services and ask for, I did it myself. I just went online, started Googling pictures or taking pictures from site inspections that I've done, but could I have come to you and asked you for help on something like that? Do you have material?
Absolutely. I mean, it depends on what you're designing, and we have folks on our team who could help you put something like that together. We do have a lot of guidance and PowerPoints related to becoming an MAI designated member or an SRA designated member or associate members. But for something like that, might want to gear it towards 8-year-old, you know what I mean? Yeah. Towards children, but we definitely could help with something like that.
Because even on our chapter, I know that there's another chapter member. She goes every year to the middle school, but these career days are starting younger and younger. So it's amazing that they're trying to tell young children that there's so much out there that you don't know, but we're not taking advantage of that.
Right.
So I think as members, we should maybe go reach out if we have children in school or our local community center, because I know they do stuff like that. And if you guys can help provide us material, or I think more people, if we spread the word, can take advantage and just be a verbal marketing, because we really aren't doing that.
Right. I want to ask you, did you speak with somebody to switch from that finance economics into the world of appraising?
So when I started, it was after one of the financial downturns, and I wanted to be a stockbroker. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this isn't the time. I don't know where it's going to go. I need a job that has steady income. So I just started looking ads, and I found something that was called a land economist. So they tricked me, because I think, yeah. Eric, what does the word land economist mean? Does that mean appraiser?
No.
1930. No.
Yeah, I was going to say, what year was it? So they tricked me, and we're searching for a land economist. So I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. And I show up, and it's a real estate appraisal office, and I started that way. So
okay.
I did not know it was an appraisal firm.
Okay.
But back then they didn't have job descriptions online like they do now, like all
Yeah.
this information. It was just like, the newspaper with the little thing, searching for land economist. I circled it and I was like,
I'm going to be a land
yes,
economist.
whatever that is.
I have these student affiliates who have called into the library, have been looking for resources. And I had one student affiliate who was up in the New York area, needed to do a property in Central Florida, and he was looking for cap rates. And he didn't know where to begin to look for any of this. And I put him in contact with the real estate center at University of Florida, who put him in contact with an MAI who got him the information he needed. So by showing that there is this network to these younger people who I've heard from the millennials, what's in it for me? Joining the institute, is that going to get me a job? Well, it's going to get you the resources to be able to do your job. And now if we offer some sort of job finding service to go along with that and have the networking. That seems to be one of the issues I've picked up from the millennials because they go in the catalog and I don't need to explain it. They have it all figured out. So they've got the resources, but when it's not in there, to be able to refer them to something they hadn't even thought of where to go for where the information is located. That I do a lot as well.
So, Eric, in order to have access to Lum Library, you have to have a affiliation with the organization, correct?
The public can look. The public can get in, but they don't get to see the full text, and they only really look at the articles. There are ebooks, which our members have access to. We have 2 ebook services, as well as a number of other materials that I'm adding in as quickly as possible. So that's the main thing people will say. I they did everything they needed to get into, but it doesn't. I said, "Well, you still need to belong to us." So that has been part of and what it costs for them to purchase an article. Many of them have said, "I can join for that amount of money." So that's another thing. What is the value? And a lot of law firms who do a lot of real estate have affiliate memberships because they want access to this material.
So let's talk about that. The affiliates, one of them, so if they have access to Lum Library, they're allowed to view everything in the Lum Library, or are there different categories on what you're able to view?
If you are affiliate, you do have access to the full text of the articles, and you have our ebooks because you are a member. And really, it's everything that an associate member has access to. It's all a big thing. But again, the affiliates are not practicing appraisers.
Yeah, I think that's a great resource to share, that there's all this data that we have access to, methodologies. If you try to, especially those journal articles, when people go, this is what I did. And a lot of them are just written by appraisers who say, I have an idea to share. And they write a little bit about it. Then you contact them. They go back, oh, well, I found out from this. And it just turns into like a little chain.
Mhm.
And you go back. And a lot of the terminology and the methodology is consistent. It's just how it's described. Sometimes the authors have better way of writing words than someone else did a few years ago, so you're able to understand it. Because I know I was joking about the corridor evaluation. That was probably one of the times that I did reach out to Eric. I had to do a corridor evaluation. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is new, what do I do? And you got these articles, and from there I connected with Richard Marchitelli, who was the expert in corridor evaluation and wrote 3 books on it. So from there I was able to like pinpoint what I was looking for, but it was like all these steps to go through and a lot of data and that I got in the process. And I know when I started out I used it a lot more, but for those students and those affiliates who are doing legal cases, I think it's a great tool to have, just to join, just for that. And it's not an expensive membership. Some of the other memberships are very expensive. Yes, the designation dues are higher, but we are designated. But I think focusing on the affiliate and the students are free membership.
Students are free.
So, and affiliate members are maybe like $300 to $400 a year.
Yep, about approximately.
Yeah. So in one job, it's paid for, just to have the research that we're able to get from the library.
It's interesting you bring up corridors because it was around, I think, 2002. There was a workshop between the Appraisal Institute of Canada, and the Right-of-Way Association. And someone wrote in looking for one of the presentations. They sent a letter to the library, to exec, to membership, to education, to communications. And I was the only one who knew about this workshop. And I sent it, and he wrote back and said, you're the only one who knows about it. So I am the archives, hopefully, to be able to bring all this information so it doesn't get lost. And it is then accessible when people need it.
And I think that's one of the things I wish members would investigate more is what access to what benefits they have to the organization, because the member value proposition is very, very good for a lot of different membership categories. But I don't think how many people go in depth into the Lum Library to see what they have access to.
And also the designated members have access to the full EBSCO business information database where they can search it. And we have an upgrade coming. I'm not sure when it's coming yet because a couple things have to happen, but they will be able to set up alerts. They will be able to set up for the journals and the topics they're interested in, that they will be able to get this as your non-designated members do not have this access. From the bibliographies, I can give them a direct link to a article, but they actually can't search it. And then even on that topic, I have a reading room set up in the Lum Library where for designated members, they can browse the previous 6 issues of real estate journals. As your associate members, affiliate members only can see the current issue of those articles. So if you're wanting to keep up to date and have a quick way of browsing current information, it's right there in the catalog.
So, Carrie, do you have any closing words for our members out there, the listeners of Face Value?
My closing words would be to go out there, network with your fellow members, learn about people, ask questions. So many of our members are out there wanting to help the younger professionals in our membership and in the profession overall. And I wish people would connect more. I know that you connect with a lot of members, but I wish the younger people will go out there too and connect with. There's so much history and knowledge in our members of the organization.
Yeah, I think it takes 20 years for someone to realize that. And that's when they start. They're like, oh, I'm going to start reaching out. But I think we need to bring that on to our younger people. And honestly, 8-year-olds are listening. My children come when I'm here. They're actually off of school this week. They come, they see it. My daughter told people, I want to be a real estate appraiser. I'm like, okay, if that's what you want to do. But they see real estate, and there's different components. There's the valuation side, there's a brokerage side, there's a development side. Mm-hmm. So you can learn a little bit about everything. Maybe appraising's not for you, but it's a great way to learn the other aspects. And even if you are a broker or on the development side, being an affiliate member is a great membership tool. There's services that are provided. We have all these benefits, discounts on books. I think we talked about that briefly. Discounts on books, discounts on education, and all categories of membership get those discounts. It's not just the designated members that get that. Right. So there's a lot of services that are offered to everyone that I think we just need to be better advocates. We need to advocate for it as well. And I can't wait to see the new ad campaign. I'm excited. I cannot wait to see that. I know the last one was Raise
Gain and Raise. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was about 15 years ago.
No, maybe like 8, 9.
Okay. All right.
It was a while ago.
It was a while ago. Okay. So I can't wait to see this because we do need we need you guys to advertise because even this podcast, it's being recorded by the 155 when Warren always jokes. He says there's always 100 people in his headset. Well, now it's 155. We've upped it a little. No, but these little things that we do, everybody has to give back a little in order to grow the profession. Absolutely. And I really appreciate that.
I wanted to mention too, before we end, that our AI group program is available to companies that have 5 or more And not just valuation professionals, but they can be affiliate members as well. And you get a 10% discount on all those member dues if the company joins a group program. So
And
I
the
wanted to mention
company
that.
has to pay for the dues?
Yes,
or-
the company does have to pay for the dues
Okay.
of at least 5 individuals, but that's a good way to start, accumulating members in different facets in different companies. We have about 120 group programs right now, about 3,000 members.
And that's for companies, it's a discount on dues,
Yep.
and it's also giving back to your staff, because
Yep.
that's a great way people feel. I know my company doesn't, but when I did work at a company who did, it's like, oh, it's something that's not, I don't have to remember to write that check.
Right.
So that's a great benefit. And it's a discount to membership, you're saying, right?
Yeah, 10% discount on the dues level for that member type.
And there's also lifetime membership that I know the board of directors changed the terminology with the 45-day notices that went out with the members' input on life memberships.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that's now automatically granted to anyone who's been designated for 40 years.
Yes, 40 years designated. And we just released the life badges a couple months ago. So everybody who's a life member does have a new life badge on their Find an Appraiser profile and on their account login.
Do they get special charms?
Maybe in the future. That's on my list.
So I don't know if you see, this is one of the new logos, right? The new logo
pins. Yep.
We got, instead of a pin, I got a charm necklace, and I love wearing it when I'm here. And sometimes I wear it just at home for fun because I like the look of it.
Yeah, because the ladies wanted the charms because they didn't want to wreck their coats. So we have charms now for anybody who gets designated.
Eric, anything you want to share with our listeners out there?
No, just if you have an information need, please contact me. The worst I can tell you is I don't have anything, but usually I do.
Well, thank you, Eric and Carrie, for joining us today. I appreciate everyone listening, and please send us your ideas. And if you want to join our podcast one day, send all emails to facevalue@appraisalinstitute.org. Warren and I do check all those emails, so make sure you send it to us. Thank you.